Hello again there, my good YouTubers. Today on this video there's quite a bit of an important sort of development in regard to the EU referendum campaign that we're trying to have, so that we the people can sort of have our say on whether to be part of the European Union or to leave the European Union and join the FDA and so on and so forth, rather than be a member of this large, what was a financial organisation which has sort of turned very political and also became very controlling and has done a tremendously large amount of, I would say, caused problems here in the UK. With large amount of constraints and rules and regulations, as well as, you know, certain taxations and things like this, which is causing the UK now to be the most largest taxed country in the entire of the world at the moment. We are just paying ridiculously large amounts for everything. Obviously, people, you know, in the sort of more well-off, richer families can afford to pay this. It doesn't bother them, even though they're arguing the toss about it. Obviously, they want to save money just as much as everybody else. So, you know, being rich, if it's you know, impacting rich people, just think what it's doing to the, you know, the poorer people of the UK. So, but anyway, I decided my constituent, which is Nicky Morgan here in Loughborough, voted against having a referendum in the UK. So what I did as part of the European Union campaign here in the UK, we were to send emails out to ask why, the simple question, why they are not willing to give us, the people of the United Kingdom, our right to vote in or out of the European Union. I sent Nicky Morgan an email on her government email, which is freely available. You can find this on the government website. It's not a big secret or anything. And I asked her simply, and says, why did you deny us the right to an EU referendum? You are representing the public, after all, and the large majority of our area want a referendum. Your claims are to listen to your local community and clearly have shown disregard to the voice of the people in Loughborough. So I ask you simply, why are you denying us a referendum on the EU? I would be glad to publish a YouTube video of your reasons for choosing to oppose the referendum. It would please me greatly if I could mention some very good, strong points as to why your decision was what it was. And, crazily enough, I got a reply. Obviously, this is the reply here. I have a letter. I've covered up the address here, which came through. What I will do is I will read you the letter that they sent me. It starts: thank you for contacting me about a referendum on Britain's membership of the European Union. I agree with the Prime Minister that in or out referendum on our membership of the EU would not benefit the UK as a whole. I believe that Britain should play a major role in an enlarged EU, but that no further areas of power should be transferred to Brussels without a referendum. This approach strikes the right balance between constructive engagement with the EU to deal with the issues that affect us all, while protecting our national sovereignty. There are many things about the EU the government would like to change. However, membership of the EU benefits the UK in many ways. It gives UK businesses full access to the world's most important trading zone of 500 million consumers, without the barriers of customs or tariffs. Indeed, 10% of UK jobs rely on exports to EU member states, and UK households are estimated to benefit from EU trade by as much as £3,300 per year. There are also benefits for individuals, such as the right to study and work anywhere within the EU. Under the present terms of membership, Britain plays a strong and active role in influencing and shaping developments within the EU. Further goals essential to our national interest. The European Economic Area, EEA, and European Free Trade Association, EFTA, members, in contrast, have to contribute to the EU budget without being able to negotiate the detail and content of EU legislation, and without receiving benefits such as exemption from custom requirements and costs. The UK's priorities for the European Union in 2011 are to ensure that, first and foremost, it can seek to deliver economic growth through action to increase trade, competitiveness and jobs. And second, that it demonstrates effective control over its own spending. The Prime Minister has been active in arguing for a lower EU budget, and our MEPs voted against the proposed rises in the EU budget. This does go on over this until second page. I firmly believe that it is important that the UK continues to resist the introduction of new powers from the EU, and that is why the government has placed the European Union Bill before the Parliament. As you are aware, the House of Lords is currently debating the bill recently passed by the House of Commons, which will give Parliament more say over important EU decisions. Treaty changes which do not transfer power or competence will in future have to be approved by primary legislation. The EU bill ensures that if in the future there is a new change to the EU treaties that moves a power or an area of policy from the UK to the EU, then the government will have to have the British people's consent in a national referendum before it can be agreed. So there will be a referendum lock on these treaties, to which only the British people will hold the key. The bill also places on a statutory footing the common law principle that Parliament is sovereign and that EU law only takes effect in the UK by virtue of the will of our Parliament expressed through acts of Parliament. Then it goes on to say, thank you once again for taking the time to contact me. If there's any further I can do, assist you, then please do not hesitate to let me know. Sincerely, Nicky Morgan. That was quite a fairly lengthy letter. Obviously, as I say, it spanned onto 2 pages, and there's some very interesting points. And I must say that the government do put up a reasonably good argument. Many areas of concerns here is that a lot of the stuff that we're in the European Union for, even as a member of the European Union, we can do with the other trades. The only thing really that you, obviously as mentioned in the letter, that you can't do with being members of the FTA and EEA is actually having a strong control over certain says and, you know, oppositions, for instance, like the MEPs like Nigel Farage and whatever, you know, stands in the chambers and puts, you know, across the, you know, the opinion, because he's an elected man, you know, from our country. So that I mean, that is great, you know, thing that we've got on that. But that's it. In other areas where, you know, especially where it says here that, you know, £3,300 per year. Now, I fail to see how that benefits, especially, you know, people on low income, because as with one of my previous videos, coming in with £948 a month, how does this £3,300 benefit them? I mean, do they what? Do they have to? Are they have to force then to shop at Tesco's, because Tesco's is a European trading company, so that we buy Euro pork and Euro meats, which is killing our local communities and causing another problem? Is that how you gain this £3,300? It'd be interesting to sort of see, you know, how much UK households are estimated to benefit. Obviously, being as it's estimated, that indicates that it's not at this present moment. So they're estimated. This is most likely going to happen next year, year after, 5 years from now. When's it estimated? So yeah, this EU trade. Now the thing is, the major people, the major players who trade in EU, and they say like the major jobs here. Well, it's funny that, because those major jobs that are needed for this EU export, they ain't held by British people. Most of them are, you know, foreign workers that come from, you know, not necessarily Poland, but yeah, as in from Poland, you know, they've come from other countries, and they've occupied those jobs, and that money is, you know, going back to their home, because obviously they have their families back at home. They come here, they work, they earn their money, they live, you know, they'll take out one house, 4-bedroom house, which is a good £700 or £800 a month. They'll earn probably in the region of about, I think, £700 a month, maybe even a bit £800 a month, something like that. But they'll share the rent between 4 people. So these 4 guys living in this 4-bedroom house, they've each got a bedroom each, and they share the house. They've only got £200 of rent to pay each, and the rest of it, other than the money they use for their own food or whatever that month, and the rest of it they send back to their families at home, so that they can feed their kids and whatever. So, is it to say it's providing these jobs? Well, unfortunately, these jobs aren't being given to, you know, British people. What about our local communities? What about our local jobs, our local businesses? You know, the local butcher, the local grocer. Is it really benefiting them? How's it benefiting them? You know, more detailed issues. There's a lot. I mean, there's a lot mentioned in it, but the left's so brief within this letter, and all these issues are so vague that, you know, you're left thinking, well, where is it? Oh, is it there? Is it not there? Oh, they must be good, because, you know, the 3,300 a year. Where is the 3,300 a year? You know, when's it due to come? Massive amounts of questions. I mean, Christ, you could send a novel of the questions back to this letter to gain more information. You know, there is a lot in here, and it's left so much wide open to, one, in a way, speculation. You know, as in, well, you know, let's hope and see what happens. Let's hope and see what goes here. Well, we hoped to see what would happen when Tony Blair was in power here in the UK. And, well, there was a lot of secrets happening behind closed doors that the British public never even knew. That's one of the reasons why 75% of the power of the British government has been sifted overseas to Brussels. And that was on the estimation of, oh, well, only the British public are estimated that they're going to benefit on this. But you're handed 75% of British government control and the people's say over to Brussels. So when the British public want to protest against something, we've got to go to Brussels, and we ain't going to get hurt because they're sort of working in a communistic way rather than a democratic way, which has been clear to see over the past year and a half. And looking back through the history of the past 10 years, there's been the similar thing. This EU committee has never produced any financial books for over 12 years. Probably closer to 15 years. I don't know the exact figure, but it's definitely over 12 years. How can we be sending £43 million a day to an organisation that can't even produce financial books? £43 million, and they can't even afford an accountant. Now, doesn't that seem rather dodgy to you? Some of the strange antics, if you look through on YouTube, which you can find, of Nigel Farage in the chambers in the EU, of arguing the toss against the fact that they had £1 million parties, public money, using millions. You know, you set a party up or whatever with a few people, you have a party, £1,000, £2,000, even a goddamn wedding doesn't cost that. That's a large amount of money. It's amazing, and we're still sending this money over. I still believe in, I can't remember who it was who said it now, but there was a guy, I'll put a link to the YouTube video down below. He says, and I agree with him, what we should do is we should take £43 million a day, and instead of sending it to Brussels, we should put it into Her Majesty's Treasury, and we should hold it there until they can produce the financial account statements for the past 12, 15 years, however long it is. It's still there, it'll sit there, won't go anywhere, it'll stay there, and then when they do produce that, then they can have the money. But until then, I think really we should, you know, do that, and I agree with that. And you know, I don't see why you know, the government's not adopting that policy until they, because it's they should be producing financial accounts for what they're spending this money on, what they're doing, their budgets, everything. 43 million a day, and I can't even afford an accountant. Well, I don't know. Employ me, I'll help out with your whatevers, you know. I don't know. It's nuts. Anyway, thank you for listening, my good YouTubers. That was the response back on the EU referendum campaign from Nicky Morgan for the Loughborough area constituency. So yeah, just letting all you good YouTubers into some new developments and new information. Anyway, thanks for watching. Speak to you later.